We're joined now by our chief political analyst. I got to tell you that, looking at today happening was really something, because just an hour before the tweets from the president came out, we got word that he was going to be involved in a press conference today. So, was this a surprise to everyone there? What can you explain about this?
It was a surprise to everybody other than President Trump and John Bolton. That's pretty much the deal. You're right. There was a press conference scheduled for 1:30 with John Bolton there, and then what? Did anybody tell the press shop that, by the way, he doesn't work here anymore? Anyhow, the question was posed to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo at a press conference that he was actually at, not with John Bolton. That question was asked whether or not he was taken by surprise, and here's Mike Pompeo's comical answer.
Were you two blindsided by what occurred today? That he's no longer with the administration? Was it news to you today? Because last night we were told he would be here today.
Yeah, I'm never surprised.
Well, let me ask you.
And I don't mean that on just this issue. And I think Secretary Mnuchin would say the same thing. We work very closely with the President of the United States. I think we have a pretty good understanding of how he's thinking about things. I think you'd agree, Stephen, at nearly all times. And so, our mission says not to talk about these inner workings in the palace intrigue that I know you are so curious about, but rather to talk about the things that matter to American foreign policy.
I think Secretary Pompeo sums it up when he says, I'm never surprised, and at this point, I think he represents the views of every single American watching Donald Trump's administration. It's like Survivor Trump edition.
Reality TV.
Yeah, reality TV.
David, so you were there today at this news conference. It looked like Pompeo was a little more, shall we say, upbeat than he normally is. He and Bolton clashed a lot.
Yeah, you will call it upbeat. That's a good word. I'll call it a bit smug. Bolton and Pompeo didn't necessarily see eye to eye. And let's be clear, Bolton and Pompeo, if Pompeo was a congressman, and he used to be a congressman, him and Bolton pretty much see eye to eye. But as Secretary of State, it's different. He's serving the President of the United States. He has to deal with all of the diplomacy here. And the truth of the matter is that, and this is what I really could never understand. Why did John Bolton take the job to begin with? He's a hawk. He is an interventionist. Some called him a warmonger. Even Donald Trump called him a potential warmonger. Donald Trump is an isolationist, doesn't want to get involved in all that. So it really seemed like a mismatch from the very beginning.
Switching gears just a little bit, something else that came out of today's press conference. Pompeo says that President Trump would meet with Iran's leader without any preconditions. Now, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And honestly, from a conservative perspective, let's be honest, if you're a conservative and this was Barack Obama, hey, you've got a real problem with this. But it's President Trump, and he's got Teflon associated with him at all times. And so what? He can do no wrong. It's a bit hypocritical. But the truth of the matter is that if you're meeting with Rouhani, the Iranian or Iran's leader, look, that opens up a huge can of worms here, and there's going to be a lot of potential repercussions, because remember, he's potentially doing this with no preconditions at the UN General Assembly coming up later in September.
David, this is another administration official to leave. What does this say about just the revolving door at the White House?
Well, he's not a politician, Donald Trump, right? We know this. And so therefore, he's not going to do things the traditional way, and this is what we get. We get helter-skelter. I call him the human Etch-a-Sketch. I've said it here before, and I'll say it again. That's what he is, and when you're a human Etch-a-Sketch, you get an Etch-a-Sketch administration, and that's what we've got.
I love your analogies, David. Thank you very much.
I'm going to trademark that, Eric.
I know, right? Thank you.
I will.